Hi, everybody, and welcome to Parent Voice Table Talk. It's me, Latoria, and I'm here with the parent leaders, Miss Cynthia Banks and Miss Dominique Robinson. Hey, ladies.
Hello. Hi.
So we're going to go ahead and dive right into our questions. The first question is, do you think pain is necessary for growth? Why or why not?
Yes, I think pain is necessary for growth. And basically, the pains that I have been through is marriage and relationships. And the pain that I have, it taught me not to go through this pain again with my next relationship or next marriage. I just know what not to put up with this time. The pain do makes you grow because it's a lesson to you to not go through it again.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Dominique. Like, relationships that I've been in, or even relationships I've had with friends and other people, like people that have done me wrong, people that have said things or done things behind my back. Like, one of the main things that I hold really dear to my heart is your word. Like, when you go back on your word, that hurts me so hard, like
It's
to
like
the core.
betrayal.
Yeah,
It's like
it feels
betrayal.
like betrayal. Like, so when you say one thing and then you do another, or you say one thing then you change, like that is one of the biggest things that I I deal with as like one of the things that will hurt me. And so with that, and then also in previous relationships, if that person has ever treated me lesser than who I was, don't see value in who I am, like it has taught me to value myself, to understand what standards and what things I will and will not take, and set those standards right there in place. Like, okay, like me and my fiance, when we first met, I'm saying this what I do accept, this what I don't accept. You can't abide by that, there's the door. Like put it right out there in the beginning. Like, I don't appreciate these things and I do not tolerate them. So if you want to do any of these things or be anywhere like this person was in my life, don't even waste your time. Keep it moving. So it has made me set standards in my life as well and value myself. So I definitely think that growth, pain is needed for growth.
Pain teaches you self-worth.
Mm-hmm.
It does. It teaches you your self-worth and it teaches you how to respond and react to situations. Like
Right.
most definitely. I would, like I said, I would not change anything that has happened to me in my life because this made me the woman that I am today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still learning from my past hurts and past pains, but I feel like it's necessary because it helps me kind of map out where I'm going. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, setting boundaries and standards and just being able to persevere through it all. Like I was saying before, you know, um, that other people's pain, like when you're going through pain, other people may be going through pain too. Like they say, real recognize real, it resonates with you. You can always kind of identify with another person that's going through something that you're going through because you can feel it. At least I can. I can feel that energy. I can feel that vibe. You can know if somebody's on point or not on point, or they're going through something. You can see it in somebody's face. You know what I'm saying? But it's all in the matter, like I said, how you resonate with the pain and how you're willing to address it. I've learned to go back to those past hurts, past pains, and those memories and forgive myself. I forgive others and forgive those that were, involved or affected by that situation, so that I'm no longer walking around with that hurt and pain in my energy. Some people don't even realize they're walking around with hurt and pain, and they are. And it kind of can skew your perspective of life and skew your perspective of relationships and how you interact with people around you because of the past hurts and pains that you've experienced growing up. Like, so it's a matter of understanding it and knowing it and being okay with it. It's okay to be in pain. It's okay to experience pain. It's not okay to stay there though. It's not okay to stay there. Like, you have to establish some boundaries and some standards, like Latoria said. Like, you have to have boundaries and standards. That's just the whole gist of it in a nutshell. And forgiveness. I feel like the biggest part of pain is learning patience and tolerance. Because I don't have no patience. My patience is growing, but tolerance, and that's one thing that a lot of people don't talk about, is tolerance. What are you willing to tolerate? What are you willing to keep putting up with over and over and over and over again until it hits that point where you're just like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. And I feel like that's what pain teaches you. It teaches you how to tolerate situations. And it teaches you what you're willing to tolerate and what you're not willing to tolerate, what you're willing to put up with, what you're not willing to put up with. And those things you're not willing to put up with, those become your standards. Those become your boundaries. And then you learn to protect yourself and you learn to protect your space, and you learn to protect your energy, and you learn to protect those around you that you care about, especially your kids.
Yeah.
So yes, pain is necessary for growth.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Cynthia, what you're saying about just how you also learn to protect yourself in the process, because you want to protect yourself from hurt. And then, like you said, also forgiveness. Forgiveness is also important. Because at the end of the day, if you can't learn to forgive that person that hurt you, they always going to have something over you. And they always going to have a piece of you. So until you learn to forgive and let go of it, it's going to always be a part of you. So
Most definitely. Most definitely. And then you have to learn to love through it. You gotta learn to love through the pain. You can't let anybody change who you truly, honestly are inside. Like, if your heart is pure and full of love, despite how anybody treats you, you always want to resonate in the realm of love, like, regardless. Like, I love you too. Like they say, when you pray for your enemies, you heaping cold on their head. When you giving them love, they giving you hate. But so what? Keep giving your love, because at the end of the day, it's not going unseen. You know what I'm saying? People see it, whether people say anything or not. People see it, and if they don't see it, God sees it. It's going to come back to you tenfold. And that the things that people do to you in the dark, trust, it's going to come to the light.
yeah.
So it's not even worth it. It's not even worth it. The only thing I really pray for is to not be that person that is giving out the pain, admitting the pain, because sometimes we are guilty of doing that as well. You know what I'm saying? We're hurting people and don't even realize we're hurting them. That's the only thing I pray for, is that God opens my eyes to make me aware. You know what I'm saying, of me possibly being that person that is, exuding that pain to somebody. I don't want anybody to be in pain. I don't want to be in pain. I don't want to give anybody else any pain, knowingly or unknowingly. Like, I just don't. I want to give you what you're giving me, but at the same time, like, is I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and switch over to our next question. I feel like we got a lot of heavy questions tonight.
I'm about to say, that's a heavy question. I need a
the next one is heavy too. So, what are some red flags to watch out for in life? Another heavy question.
My biggest thing, like you said, is the words. I watch out for words and actions. If your words don't match your actions, we got issues.
Yeah.
I watch out for energy. If your energy ain't right, I'm not rocking with you. Like, I'm learning to address things too, including myself, because I'm guilty of it too. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like they say, looking at the man in the mirror, recognize where you falling short and holding yourself accountable. That's a big thing.
Yeah, I think red flags for me is looking out for somebody that you can trust, like trust. You know,
That's a big one.
keeping people that are trustworthy in your corner.
Mm-hmm.
People you can rely on in your corner. So red flags to me is somebody that's, I don't want to say phony, but they fake. They say something to you in your face and then they do something else behind your back. Like, that's the type of people you don't want in your corner. You don't want to really be
I
associated
agree with you on that. My red flag is men. That's it.
Just men?
The whole men,
all men, or just
gender,
or just
all
some?
male gender.
Yes, that's it. That's the red
If you
flag
see
for
a
me.
man, run is what you say.
That's it. I'm telling you, it's just men for me. I'm serious. I just wish I had a radar to just, when you bring a guy that's walk past you or something, you just gotta zoom in eye and say he's gonna run up your credit. Okay, leave him alone.
Girl, like that little box of cigarettes. I don't know if y'all seen that commercial or whatever. It was a box of cigarettes. If they could take a box of cigarettes and put the warning signs on the side of a man, and then they say warning. You know how the box of cigarettes say warning? This will give you heart disease, lung cancer, and all that. If they just did that to men, warning, he will stress you out, make your hair fall out. Cause you to gain 20 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Like, has no self-esteem. Like, I realized too, that's something that I learned though. I realized, like, about my husband. My husband and I've been married for 12 years, 13 years next year. And I literally just in this year have feel like I finally am starting to find myself again. I realized I felt like I lost myself in my husband. Like, I was so consumed with him. What are you doing? Where are you doing? Why are you doing it? Who are you doing it with? I forgot myself. Not just him, but my kids too. You know what I'm saying? My kids, I'm always on top. What are you doing with this? Da, 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 trying to help my kids and staying focused on my kids. I lost focus of me. The red flag that I say is another thing to pay attention to is self-care and self-love. Really, really taking the time to be one-on-one with you. Like a lot of times we forget to love ourselves first. Can't love anybody else until you learn to love yourself. You can't befriend anybody else until you learn to befriend yourself. You can't give to anybody else until you learn to give to yourself. And a lot of times what happens is we get in these relationships and we get around people, or we get, you know, we have friends, whatever, and we start giving because we, you know, I want to be nice to them, I want to be kind to them, or they're, you know, they're doing certain things to me, so I want to reciprocate. But sometimes it gets to the point where you lose focus. And, you know, that's one thing you don't want to do. You don't want to lose focus on what your purpose is, what you're supposed to be doing, how you're supposed to be treating yourself. And then, like, whatever you want people to do for you, you have to do that for yourself, too. I started buying myself flowers, girl. Like, seriously, I started buying myself flowers. Anything I want my man to do, I'm going to do it for me, too. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to do it for me, too. If he's not giving me flowers, if he's not giving me compliments, okay, fine. I'm going to give myself them flowers and them compliments, but that's a red flag. Because if you're not uplifting me or encouraging me to push me to the next limit or next height, I don't need that around me. Like you said, you don't want no phony people around you. I don't want anybody that's going to be like, what's they call it, gaslighting or just, you know,
Two-faced.
Two-faced, vampire. What do they call it? Energy vampires. I don't need no energy vampires around me. Go ahead.
That energy.
Yeah, energy vampires, girl. It's people that, trust me. Watch, one day, you're gonna see what I'm talking about. You're gonna be in a situation one day where you're gonna just be like, you know what, I'm in such a good mood. I'm just feeling whatever you're feeling. You're gonna be just in a place of just peace, zen. And out of the blue, somebody that would normally piss you off or pluck your nerves, they're gonna call you. It happens. Oh, they can feel your energy change. Oh, she in a different space. Let me go holler at her and see what's going on. And they will call you and talk to you. And then when they start feeling all good and you start feeling bad, oh, I got to go.
Oh,
Transference of energy.
I hear what you're saying now.
Yeah, it's a transference of energy. Why protect your space, girl? I'm telling you.
Yeah. There are some people out there that are like that. That's another red flag to look for too, like real friends. Like people that really want you to succeed in life. They want you to do good in life. Not the ones that are just in your business just so they could be in your business. Not the ones that are just trying to pick up on your coattails, like trying to follow you and get into whatever you getting into.
Mm-hmm.
And not the ones, like you said, that are just the ones that be like, oh, you got a new job, so like that's not that big deal. I thought you would have been doing something bigger than that. Like they always raining on your parade. Like
I don't need that around me. Go ahead about your life and times, boo.
Yeah.
That's why I like Dominique, because like when we were in the office, Dominique would always put up like an inspirational quote. That's good vibes. You know what I'm saying? You always, believe it or not, Dominique, I'm about to cry. Don't even let me cry, dude. Believe it or not, there were some days I walked in that office and I didn't want to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't want to be there. And then out of the blue, you be like, I'm gonna put this on the board. And you will write something, it'd be right on my street. Right on my street. So you never know how you are affecting other people around you. Like you never know that. So always be mindful of your energy and what energy you give off. But just, I love you, Dominique. Well, I mean, I never told you that before. I love you, girl. You like a sunshine. Like, yes. But seriously, though, I do. I love y'all energy. The energy y'all gave is so genuine and so real. Like, I rock with y'all. Like, whether y'all realize or not, I really rock with y'all. I already told y'all before a long time ago, if y'all ever had any issues with me, let me know. Tell me when I'm messing up. For real.
All right.
I'm for real. Tell me when I'm messing up. If I said something that was sideways, tell me. Because that's a red flag people don't tell you. They be too scared to tell you anything to you. Don't want to hurt your feelings. Hurt my feelings in a nice way, but hurt my feelings. You know what I'm saying? Tell me so that I can grow, so that I can evolve, so that I can change. You know what I'm saying? And that's a problem. A lot of people don't want to be, like you said, truthful or honest with you because they don't want to hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
Part of growing up is getting hurt feelings. Part of maturing is getting hurt feelings. And it goes back to the whole just of pain. Pain is necessary for growth.
Right. That's true.
I'm sorry, y'all got me fired up this little.
So the next question is, why is education important to you?
Education is important to me is because if you really don't have an education, you really can't make it in life far as the way you would want it to go. That's why I'm so important with my children to make sure they, with this virtual learning and everything, to make sure they be online, make sure they do all their work, make sure they pass it in because they can get graded for it. And then throughout the long run, if you go to college, whatever, it's just education takes you a long way. Education is that number one thing you need to start your career, all of that. You would need that. Education is very important to me. And it's important to me because I'm supposed to be going back to get my GED. It had got held off, due to, personal circumstances. And then on top of that was COVID-19 really messed a lot of people up. So I have to go back and do that because I was about to graduate, but the COVID-19 came along and I canceled. Now I got to start all over with the GED, but I'm not going to be mad. I'm just going to get my application. I don't care how old I am. I'm
There's
going to
a
do what I
reason
need
and a
to do.
season for everything, girl. You already
Yes.
got this.
Yes.
Yeah, education is important to me. I think it really does have to stem from your family background or like your background in general. It doesn't even have to say be family. Because like when I went away to college or whatever, like some of my younger cousins, I didn't realize how much of an impact I made on them. Because it was just like my younger cousin was like, I want to go to the same school you went to. You're the first female cousin to go away to college. And I was like, I didn't even take the time to think about that.
Think about it.
Until after the fact, I was like, oh, I was the first female cousin to go away. And technically, I was still in Maryland. I went to University of Maryland Eastern Shore, but it was like, it was 3 hours away. To her, that was big. I mean, granted, I was supposed to go to North Carolina A&T. That's where my little sister go now. But I ended up staying at University of Maryland. But just knowing that kind of impact and how I perceive education then trickles down to generations or other family to come, or even friends. You don't even know who's even looking at your motions and your movements. Like, Dominique, you going to get your GED, I believe there was other parents in the school that felt motivation behind it. Like, oh, you're doing that? I'm about to go back and do that too. Just knowing that kind of the community and who you surround yourself with kind of molds and shape your opinions when it comes to things, especially education. And then my mother just being so like, it wasn't no discussion. Like after high school, I already knew college was next. It wasn't even, should I go to college? Should I not go? Like I already knew that expectation was in place. And, kind of talking with my fiance and stuff like that, like how he told me like his family, there was no expectation of college. It was like, you finished high school? Okay, good. We're just glad you got out of high school. Other than that, there wasn't an expectation to continue his education. And meeting me and kind of just knowing what that means to me and my family, and kind of like invoking that same vibe, like, oh, I'm going to school for my doctorate, like that's where I'm going. I put that value out for myself, and I think from that he fed off of it, and now he's going to school to get his bachelor's. So even though it's starting late for him, it's about who you surround yourself with, the type of company you keep that really molds and shapes that desire to go further, or education in general, just to have that passion behind it, or to just have that passion within yourself of I want to be better and I want to know more.
I think for me, I can rock with a lot of what you said. A lot of it, what you said, resonate with me real heavy. Growing up, my mother didn't play that. My mother was very, very strict. She used to always tell us, you don't have to be a product of your environment. If you want to, like, she did not want us to stay where we were. And so her biggest thing was, you either going to go to school or you're going to get a job. You're going to find something to do, because you're not going to be sitting around doing anything. Even if it's a trade or something, you're going to find something to do. And so, my mom drilled education in us, but it was like once I got to like high school, it was just like every man for themselves. And so it was like, if you weren't adamant about it, or you weren't like pushing for it, there was no extra encouragement to do it. Although it was like the expectation that wasn't like talked about, it was just an expectation. I think the biggest thing for me was my brothers. my brothers really, really wanted me to go. They always just, you're the smart one. You're the smart one. You do well in school. Like, it was more so of making a name for my brothers, like paving the way for my brothers to feel like, you know, and I'm the youngest of all of my siblings, but my sister and I are the only two that actually went to college and finished college and graduated. You know, my brothers didn't. They didn't finish school. They didn't graduate. They didn't go to college. You know, they didn't do that. They had different dreams, different goals, different aspirations, it's different drive. But like you said, I think, like you said, your family sets the bar. I really do feel like your family sets the bar, though. Like, I don't know. I felt like it was a double standard, though, growing up in my house, though, because it was like the girls had to be, like, really, really on point with stuff, and the boys kind of got to, you know, frivolously do whatever they wanted to do. And I don't think it was, like, intentionally done. I really don't think it was intentionally done, but, yeah. And, like, when it comes to education, like, I just feel like the world is in a book. If you really want to learn something, you really want to know something, you can just go out there and just find a book on it and learn all that you can learn about it. And you can explore the world through books. Like, I think that's just major in itself. And when it comes to school now, like, I'm very big on education because it's a lot harder, like Dominique said, to gain employment or to, some people don't even respect you as a human being. If you don't have credentials, they look down on you. They think just because you don't have these credentials that you don't have that experience or you don't have that knowledge, but it's not true.
Yeah,
you know
I don't agree with that.
It's not
I don't
true.
agree with that standard. I don't, because there are some people that don't have a college degree that are more knowledgeable about some things that even somebody with a college degree are knowledgeable about. But unfortunately, the standard within our, you know, our government, our economy, our job force is to have a bachelor's degree. And I think over time, like, my fiance started to realize, like, hold up, like, if I have a bachelor's degree, even though I have years and years of experience in this area, like, I can get this much more money. I'm like, yeah. So you see the value and, like, yeah, like, unfortunately, it's not who you know. It's not how much experience you got. What else do you got? What is on that paper that you show? When you sit there and do that lengthy application, you got to list all your credentials and all your job experience. And then after that, I remember, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I didn't even mean to go on a rant like this. But I remember when I first got out of college and I applied for this job and they told me, oh, you're overqualified. I was like, I'm just getting out of college. What do you mean I'm overqualified? Oh, well, with all this experience. I'm like, but I just got my degree. I'm trying to learn, like, different things. So it's kind of up and down. It depends. It can be based off of what you know, and it can also be off of your credentials. But most of the time, you get paid more for the credentials part, but then they look at your job history to find out if you have the skills for the job. So it's crazy. I hate it.
It really is crazy on sometimes because some people don't know how important that it really is. That's why a lot of people out here go get the fake diploma to try to get jobs stuff because the jobs are really asking for that. And the ones that don't have a diploma, find people that know how to make fake diplomas and GEDs and all that to get where they need to be at. I know a lot of people now that, you know, done that to get the job that they have because they don't have a diploma, and they're making it really like a really number one thing that you might need. But a lot of people don't have a diploma because maybe they couldn't get it. And then some of them just get frustrated, don't want to go back and get it. And a lot of people just don't want to get it when they know people know how to make them. So, like I said, to each his own.
Yeah, you have to really want the knowledge within yourself. So even like I said, outside of other factors that might be supporting or boosting you for your educational goals and drives, you really have to want it in yourself to get through it. Like me going in my graduate degree, I was working 2 jobs and going to school. I literally was getting up, had to be to work at 3 a.m. Then I get off at 8, had to be at class at 8, remind you, 9. Leave the airport at 8, get to school, literally in my work clothes. Then we had our break. I changed my work clothes in the bathroom. And then I was in class from 9 to 9. And then I had to go to my overnight job. Like I still looking back on it, I mean, it was nothing but God that got me through it all. But also on top of that, like I had to have the drive to get through it because I could have
Yeah,
stopped a long time ago.
trust. I understand those. I understand that experience all too well. Getting out of like, cause I worked overnight, and I had 2 kids, girl, and
I
I
don't
was
know how
going
you
to
did
school
it.
full time.
I don't know
Oh
how
my
you did it.
goodness, I will work overnight. I had to be to work from 10 to 6, 10 o'clock at night, 6 o'clock in the morning. I will work from 10 to 6, get off at 6 o'clock, get home by 6:30, get my kids to school by 7, get on the, and mind you, I was doing all this on a bus. I didn't even have a car. I would get back on the bus and ride the bus all the way across town to get to class. And sometimes I would fall asleep in class. Teacher, what is going on? What are you doing that you can't be alert? I said, Miss, look, I'm working my job. And I was working at McDonald's and Walgreens.
Oh.
McDonald's and Walgreens with 2 kids, going to school full time, and just trying to do what I could do to make ends meet. You know what I'm saying? I feel like everything that we do is not done anything. It's done for our children. Our children are watching us.
Yeah.
They're watching us. And so it's like, you know, part of me wanted to go back to school. That's just for my personal. But the first time I went through school, going through college, oh my God, with my children, I wanted them to see, like, persevere. Anything that you really, really want, if you really want it, especially when it comes to your education, you can get it. You can get it. You just have to, like you said, you have to have that drive. You have to have that motivation, that willingness to want to do it. Education is a major part. And I feel like they don't pay teachers enough money. I'm just going to say that. I'm going to throw that out there. They don't pay teachers enough money, especially considering the fact that teachers are the foundation of everything. Teachers teach you how to be whatever it is you want to be. Like, I don't get it. Without a teacher, where would you be?
Yeah, that's a good question. We're gonna have to hold that one for another session because I have a lot of professions that I feel don't get paid what they should be getting paid, aka social workers. Okay, I'm gonna just throw that out there, and then we're gonna switch over to another question. Because that's a deep question right there. We definitely gonna have to use that question one time.
Mm-hmm.
Since we on the point of talking about education, the next question, with middle school choice and high school choice happening, I don't know if either of you are going through that with your kids right now, but how was that transition for you? You know, transitioning from elementary to middle or middle to high, like, was that a tough time for you? Like, how important is this time right now?
Well, when I was little, coming up, you know, each grade that you go to, like, you know, you be in school, you know, you never really like, okay, you be in elementary school, so, you know, you just basically just listening and listening. You know, you're still young. But once you get into middle school, you get older, you start seeing the boys and stuff. You know, it makes the girls more fascinated because they're like, yeah, can't wait to get in high school. Then they looking at everything, you know. But anyway, you know, my daughter, she not in her right grade right now, but she need to be because she will be in high school. So I would want that I have to get that, you know, straightened out with her so she can, you know, get the notice about what high school be like and everything. But far as me, I loved it. Like, especially me, I know I'm in high school, just, yeah, when you be in the auditorium, the best place to go at. Telling you now, that auditorium be the best place to go with the children. I mean, you see the guys like, hey, you know, you know, and then, you know, the boys look at you like, damn, like, she got big, you know. But, yeah, it's fun.
I don't know. From my transition to middle school, it was okay. I think my transition from middle school to high school is where I kind of like went through some things. Because going through middle school, you know, you're going through puberty. Your body's changing. Your mind is waking up to certain things, you know. But like going from middle school to high school, it was like, oh, snap, this is real. It's nobody like here to hold my hand. Like, at least in middle school, you still might have a few teachers or a few people that might hold your hand and help you through it. But in high school, you on your own. And for me in high school, when I first entered high school, I'm not even gonna lie, I went through a depression. I was severely depressed. And it was crazy because nobody realized it. Nobody knew. They called me the peacoat girl. I literally would go to school and not talk to anyone. I wore a peacoat all day long. I wouldn't take my coat off. I wouldn't talk to anybody. It was just awkward when I first entered high school. It was just really awkward. And I guess it was because like I didn't know where I fit in. You know, in high school, you kind of start to identify with yourself more and you start to kind of figure out the type of person you really, really want to be and what you're into and what you're not into. And so it was like, I always always stood out. I never was in just one particular group of people. I knew so many different people. I knew so many different groups. I liked so many different things. Like I never, like, you know how they say in high schools you have like your cliques? I wasn't in a clique. I was in everybody's clique. I was a part of everybody's clique. But in ninth grade, it was a depression. I was like, no, what is going on? My life is over. Like, this is crazy. But by the time I got to 10th grade, because I went to trade school, so by the time I got to my 10th grade, they kind of like split us up, and then you had to actually go to your trade class. And, you know, once I got in my trade class and I got to be around people that were a little bit more like-minded, it changed. High school was, I went through some things in high school. That's all I'm going to say.
But high school, middle school, you know, yeah, I wasn't never the populous one, but I really ain't care. I had my own clique. Me,
Yeah.
myself, and I. And my fist. If I had to get down for the high school. You already know what that meant. But so after I had to do that, really nobody really said nothing really else. If they was going to try, they didn't. But yeah, me, myself, and I was my own clique. That's all I need, and that stands to this day. That's all I need. Me, myself, and I. And
you
God.
know, I rock with that one because that's where I'm at now. Where I'm at right now, me, myself, and I, and God, we best friends right now. I'm good with all them friends. Y'all go ahead. I realize, like they say, the older you get, the smaller your circle become. That's so prevalent. It's so important.
That's true.
I see it now. Back then, I didn't understand. I see it now. What?
Yeah.
And it's crazy because in ninth grade, I was the only ninth grader. They put me in all senior classes. So that was even more reason for me to feel awkward because these kids have been here for 4 years now. What is 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th? They were in the 12th grade. I'm the 9th grader in the 12th grade class. I was on the 12th grade lunch shift.
Smart.
I didn't like that. I didn't care that I was smart. Like, I didn't want to be the smart, nerdy girl. Like, even though I was a smart, nerdy girl, I didn't want to be the smart, nerdy girl. I just wanted to be just me. I wanted to be accepted and acknowledged for who I was. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wanted you to see me and know me and not just think, oh, because she's in these classes, she's extra smart. And, you know, they treat you different when they think you're extra intelligent. Like, don't do that to me. Just treat me normal.
Yeah. When I transitioned first from elementary to middle school, so I was in private school up until 4th grade. And then I hated it. It was the worst thing ever. I hated it. I hated wearing them daggone jumpers, printed, kilted looking dresses, and them black and white shoes. Oh, I hated it. So when I transitioned to 5th grade, and we didn't have to wear uniforms, we could wear whatever we wanted. Like I'm like so excited. But I think that added pressure to me. Because then I was like, oh, I'm trying to dress cool. I want to be in with the cool kids. And I felt like I had to like try to learn the public school transition first. So I feel like I transitioned from private school up until 4th grade to now public school. So I was learning a lot about that. And then right after that, that was 1 year. Then after that, I went straight into middle school. So now I'm learning things about myself, and people were mean in middle school. They were mean. I went to a magnet school, so I had to wear a uniform. But then by 8th grade, I was one of those kids that would change up my uniform and make it look cute and stuff like that. So I had finally got comfortable there. And then high school happened. I think that's the one big thing about middle school. You only got 3 years to kind of feel comfortable. And it's like, as soon as you start to feel comfortable, here comes another.
It's over.
Like, I was in middle school, like when I went to middle school, I was at Lamel, and that was my middle school. And it was just like, I didn't speak like when kids do like pick on you and stuff, because you try to come to school with the stuff that your mother put on you when you come there. But then the rest of them got on a little high price tennis shoes and stuff. So it was one time, I know what tennis shoes my mother was sending me to school with. I looked at my tennis shoes and said, Pro Wings, So I'm looking at my mother like, Ma, you about to send me to school with some shoes that's about to fly me away? Like, And they was just picking too, the kids were just picking right along like, she got Pro Wings, and, just talk. But my mother was like, it's crazy though, because I didn't understand what it meant back then. But now, I'm understanding all that. I got 5 children, so I'm going to go cheap. I'm not about to buy no 200 pair of tennis shoes to keep. Nah, so, yeah.
I learned that too. I'm not paying for no name. The hell with that.
But I didn't know back then. That's what back then them kids had them, I guess, fathers, mothers that had a lot of money to get them that stuff. But they didn't know, you feel me, that whatever that you put on is what you put on. You just got to take care of it to make it still look good. It ain't got to be that high price.
I
But
didn't
yeah,
even realize that I didn't even have name. Like, I didn't even realize I wasn't wearing name brand stuff, like, until high school. And they were like, "What is that you got on?" I'm like, "What you mean? Like, Target?
clothes.
What you mean? Target? Target
yeah,
got these clothes. What you talking about?" Now
Yeah.
people be wearing Target. Like, it's
Target,
a
they
name
sleep on
brand.
Target.
Target
That's one thing I
has
can
cute
honestly say
stuff.
I never had issues with. I never had issues with kids picking on me in terms of my clothes. It was more so like picking on me because I was really quiet, which is crazy because you guys say you talk so much in here. But like I was really quiet, like really, really quiet and like really standoffish. But then I was like really goofy. I was always laughing at stuff. Like it was just funny.
it really ain't matter to nothing because, like I said, you can be a kid by yourself. Kids gonna still pick. They pick with a statue, knock the head off. It don't even matter. It's just you. I'm just saying, it could be a flower, not mess with you. They pull the leaves off. It's just it don't matter how much you stay to yourself. You still got picked on. It just don't matter. It just takes like just leave me alone. It used to come up like that. Mother like, yeah, when they pick with you, all you gotta do is hit them one good time, and they don't mess with you no more. Not now. They bringing the whole family to ocean with them, like.
Now, yeah, you not lying. You not. I'm gonna get my aunt. Next thing you know, you got the aunt, the uncle, the cousin, best friend, everybody. What?
Man, one time
There's
in
no
high
more
school.
one-on-one fights. There's no more one-on-one or none of that. Like,
So I'm gonna just say this real quick. So high school, by the time I went to high school, my mother had got remarried and we moved out to the county. So now I was in like a whole nother section. I didn't know anybody. You know, ninth grade, people had been in middle school and elementary school together. These were all new people. So I was meeting all new people. And this one boy like came up to me and was like, "Hey, shorty," like trying to talk to me. I was like, "Boy, get your ugly self out my." Oh, you done messed up now. I'm gonna get the pin. Like there was like a gang of people. I didn't know there were a gang within the school. It was like, "Oh, I'm gonna tell my girl so and so, and she's gonna get all her friends to jump you tomorrow." But I'm like, what? Like, wait, I'm new to this area. I didn't know this was gonna happen.
It's men these days now that still do that because you don't want to talk to them. Like
Oh
it's
my
men to
God.
this
that's
day that
absurd.
does
Seriously,
that.
I'm sorry. I don't really like you. I'm in ninth grade. Like, really? I
It's
was
men
so
to this day. You don't want to talk to them. They wanting to shoot you or beat you up themselves. Like they
Yeah.
still got that hurt little boy pride. Like that's crazy.
I
You know
was
what?
so hurt. I was so
That's
scared.
some legitimate stuff though, Dominique. That's go back to that first question though. Transmuting that pain is pain. That's the men don't do well with rejection, but some women don't either.
Mhm.
Women don't do well with it either. But I think so. I'm not even going to say men. I'm gonna say people.
Yeah.
People don't do well with rejection, but I feel like you have to go through some of these things. Like school kind of sets you up for life in a sense, but it's all in the village, like you said, the villages you keep around you. School is supposed to prepare you for life. Middle school bullying and people talking about that's supposed to help you get thick skin, so you know who you are. No matter what anybody say to you, you gonna know who you are, who you rocking with, how you rocking. You can say what you want to say. So what? I know who I am. You know what I'm saying? It's all necessary. It's all a part of the great circle of life, like the Lion King.
The circle of life. Okay.
Yep. It's all a part of the circle of life. Yep. It's crazy too because
Yeah.
I have two children actually that are transitioning. So I have a fifth grader transitioning into middle school. He has given middle school no thoughts. He's not even like thinking about it or any of that.
Well,
But
you
me,
think so? He could be just scared.
he hasn't even mentioned it to me, but like I feel like I'm more so like adamant about it because I'm like, oh my God, where am I going to send him to middle school? I don't want him to just go to any random middle school. And then like knowing your children and knowing their personality and how they are, because you can kind of see it in them as a parent when if you know your children, when you spend time with children, you know like certain environments they're not going to do well in. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you want to make sure that you're doing the best you can do to put them in an environment that is conducive to their development. And so it's like my son, he's very eclectic. He's different. He's not like most kids. And it's not necessarily saying that he has like learning disabilities or issues or anything like that. He just personality wise, both of them, they're very different. I call them weird, kind of, sort of, because they are kind of a little weird, but it's who they are. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, oh my gosh, like I feel like I'm dreading it more than they are. But my eighth grader, he's getting ready to go to high school. He has been struggling with the idea since the beginning of the school year. And I'm like, you're only in eighth grade. Like, make it through the eighth grade first. Well, you start tripping about high school, but he's so like wrapped up in high school and like, oh my God, mom, I'm getting ready to go to high school. He can't even focus on what he's supposed to be doing right now, 8th grade. Like his first quarter, he flunked. And he felt so bad. And he's like, I'm doing bad. This is horrible. I have to fix this. I have to change this. They're not going to take me into the school I want to go to. I don't even know what school I want to go to. So I just been trying to like encourage him and just tell him like, be yourself. Be yourself. If that's one lesson that we could learn, is to be yourself. Just really just be yourself. Be true to who you are. Don't worry about what other people think. People are entitled to their opinions and their thoughts. It's all in who you are and who you know yourself to be. Like, be yourself. Don't let anybody discourage you or tell you who you are, because no one is you. No one's walking in your shoes.
Yeah, that's the best advice for going through those transitions. Stay true to yourself.
And even if you gotta be alone,
and everything else will fall
be
into
alone.
place.
Yep. If you have to be alone for a while, be alone. It's okay to be alone. It's okay to be alone. And loneliness is just a feeling. It will flee.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time by myself in middle school. A lot. And it wasn't because I wanted to be alone, but I kind of did. Like, I did. At school, it was different. When I was in school, girl, I was everywhere. Up and down the hallway. I don't know. I like school. I vibed in school. And my biggest thing was I love paying attention. I just love to learn. But like outside of school, socially outside of school, I was in my room. I stayed in my room all the time. I spent a lot of time by myself in my room, especially in middle school. And like when I did make friends, my mom was very strict. So like I couldn't just go outside and say, hey, I'm going to my homegirl's house. No, you had to call her. You had to call her mom. You had to make sure it was okay. And then like we had to always be like 3 or 4, maybe 6 deep. We couldn't go anywhere just 1 or 2 by ourselves. We had to be deep. It had to be a whole bunch of us before my mom would let me even go anywhere. But I appreciate that because now that I have my own children, I understand it. I understand why she was like that. You know what I'm saying? She was just being protective. But it teaches me too to kind of not necessarily let down my guard, but not be so restrictive with my kids.
Right.
Just let them just kind of breathe.
Yeah. It's a transitional time, and it's something that we all went through and our children will go through, and staying true to yourself, I think, was the best thing we pretty much summed up with in a nutshell. And be there, listen to your parents during that time. Parents, think of yourself and how you were going through that time as well. So we're going to end off this talk with a fun question. So I'm going to pass it over to my girl Dominique. Or what's the fun question of the day?
The fun question of the day is, what's the worst Wi-Fi name you heard or you seen, however? Whew. Speaking of Wi-Fi, like when I seen this, I couldn't believe it. I had to ask myself, am I being punked? I seen this name, it said trying to help a nigga out. Like, what? Like, first of all, I seen it, like, I would start laughing. Like, it had trying to help a nigga out, meaning that Wi-Fi was free to everybody, it wasn't locked.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Yeah, it was free to everybody, so it said trying to help a nigga out. Then another one I seen said bootylicious and all this. I'm just like, you know what? So if that's the case, if they can come up with anything, I can just come up like Big Girls is in 1, 2, 3. Something, I'm just saying, like, is this, you put anything on the Wi-Fi? I just couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. Like, really.
What's your Wi-Fi name?
What's my Wi-Fi name?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have no Wi-Fi.
But
when I was at my old house, it was the Family 7.
I know that's right.
Yeah,
and
so
see,
it was the Family 7.
What is our Wi-Fi name? The Banks Clan. Oh, the Banks Clan 6, because it's 6 of us.
It was the Family 7. That's what it was. But right now, it's just basically the Family 6. And the one got eliminated. We're just gonna leave that there.
What blows me is when I go to visit somebody's house and I'm like, oh, what's your Wi-Fi? And it's like this run-on sentence. I'm like, yo, can you just change it to something that can apply to everybody? Like something small, like just the family's last name and a number or whatever. Like, I'm like, yo, you still got it on the default. It'd be like XYZR2764332. I'm like,
it has
me.
No, I
Wi-Fi.
don't, because
Wow.
it took me a minute. I didn't know how to change it, and mine was like that for a minute. My joint was XYQRD11D5.
Oh,
Look,
I
and it
hate
took the
that.
the kids was like taking pictures of it so that
Yeah.
they could use.
It
But I
was
was
like,
I told
what's
you
your
to change it.
Wi-Fi? And they be sending you a text message with the Wi-Fi along in it. So you can't even just copy and paste it at that point. You still gotta go in between the picture and your phone. Like, all right,
Oh, and don't
X.
get 0 and O mixed up, girl, because you gotta
Right.
keep putting it in. If you put the wrong 0, if you thinking it's a 0,
You
it's
gotta
an
do it all
O, and then if
over.
it's an O, you thinking it's a 0, you gotta keep changing it. Don't nobody got time for that.
And then you gotta do it all over. I'd be like, yo. You put the whole username, the password, and you hit enter, be like, invalid.
Burner.
I'm like, yo, now I gotta do the whole thing over again.
Yes.
Burner.
Oh, I
Oh, I
hate
got a
it.
question. Do you guys remember any of the slang terms that you guys used to use when you were in school, middle school?
The slang terms.
Yeah, you ever heard when they say, "Oh, I housed you"?
No.
Y'all ever heard that? Okay, you guys ever heard
I
of
never heard like,
luncheon?
yeah, I've heard
Nah.
of luncheon.
You
I heard you
luncheon.
luncheon.
Yeah,
I've
lunch.
heard-
You
I've
go
heard
to the
that.
cafeteria, eat lunch.
No, like you
No.
luncheon.
You luncheon. Then I've heard lunchbox. I was like, I really thought it was a real lunchbox. So they
Only word
yeah.
I heard of is when somebody cracking on somebody, they be like, dang, or something like that. But that's about it. That luncheon and all that other, I ain't never heard nothing like
Oh
that.
my goodness, they should be like, "Oh, I housed you. I
I
housed
ain't
you,"
never heard.
and they would
I
do
ain't
it
never-
like this.
Oh
Chimney.
no,
Yeah,
What
I don't
in
know
the-
about the house G, but I've heard
yes.
of luncheon.
Where them kids came from?
Girl, I went to Falstaff. Don't come for us.
I'm just trying to figure that out because I ain't never at all.
Yeah,
That's funny.
no. But this was fun. This was a great time. I want to say thank you once again to my parent leaders, Dominique and Cynthia. And thank
Right.
you all for tuning in to Parent Voice Table Talk. We look forward to seeing you again. Bye.